how is Will progressing in soaking in and learning at this stage of this off season?
He's been great. Really happy with the work that he's put in. What he's learned. There's a lot of information coming at him. You know, a lot of technical things, a lot of mental things, a lot of physical things as far as fundamentals, techniques, how we teach, what we teach. He's attacked it with really awesome enthusiasm. Every day he comes in, he learns it, and always the mark to me of guys that take coaching well, they can take it from the meeting room to the grass. And so he's been able to translate those things as we've come out here. So really happy with the work he's done so far. I think he's really gotten better in a short amount of time because of the way he approaches his job, and that's all you can ask for at this point in the year.
How much does it help him too that he has going to have veteran receivers around him that know the nuances, the tricks of the trade in terms of route running and concepts and things like that?
It helps a ton. You know, they've got great knowledge and experience, productive players in the league. They've done it, and that helps when you got a young quarterback that's starting as a full-time starter for his first time. And having veteran presence, veteran perspective, veteran opinions will help his development. I believe that, and really excited about that group right now and where we're at, really from top to bottom, because the guys that have been here too, with Nick and Treylon, those guys have had a pretty good start. So good depth in that room, good competition.
How's Tyler impact that group, and how much he's played like 80% in the slot, but in Cincinnati, how much is he a slot guy?
It's not official yet. Hasn't signed the papers in general, just to put that out there to start. That'll be official sooner than later, but not quite yet. But Tyler is a slot receiver. That's what he does. That's where he's made his money. That's where his production has come from. He's a fantastic slot receiver on top of it. Most importantly, I think he's an awesome addition to the locker room. He's a great human being, great worker, and everything about him is what we want to be about. So to add him is really it's an impactful add for us, and excited about it. As far as Treylon's role, he's going to play everything. We've told him that from the beginning. He's going to play inside. He's going to play outside. He's going to carve out a role for himself. And I had him come up today and do the break after practice because his work he's put in has been really impressive. Just to give you guys some context, you know, Tuesdays are our harder days of our 4-day work week. It's a really heavy day, and so the load on the players is high. And what I mean by that is both acceleration, max speeds, and yardage. And so Treylon, I think, ran 3,591 yards on Tuesday, and then hit our top speed and team-leading top speed at 22.6 miles an hour in practice. So super impressive workload and performance. And so he's had a really good offseason. I'm excited about what he can bring for us. I meant when I said that the other day that I think he's going to have a role to play. You know, I don't have to say much to Will about that. He's usually pretty dialed in to getting better every day, and you know, I think he's excited. I think he's excited about what's around him, the players that are on our team, the players that we've added. I think he's optimistic about how he can perform and the jump that he can make from his first year to his second year, which you see a lot with players in the league. He got a little taste of action last year, played some, did some good things, did some things he needs to improve on, but ultimately has enough experience to draw back on it and really make the jump and the improvements in the areas that he needs to as a full-time starting quarterback. And so he should be very excited, but he's also doing the requisite work that's required of him to do his part, and that's been fun to see.
Is he kind of leading in Cincinnati as well?
Certainly there's parallels, you know, obviously bringing Tyler in and having the receivers we have now. It's a style of offense I'm very comfortable with, one that I've seen work a couple different places now, so that does matter. But still, at the end of the day, this is the Titans, and this is our offense that we're going to build here. We have different players here, even though Tyler is one that is a carryover player from the past experience. So we're still finding out what our guys are going to do well. You know, we're made up differently. We have different talents, and so every day that we come out here, particularly when we get to training camp, we'll get a better feel for who and what we are at all the positions and how we're going to use them.
It's still early. Harder maybe to linemen in general to read without pads. How much can you see day to day, week to week improvement? How much can Bill, and how much the technical stuff that you're working on now how much can you see it working when you can't see the padded results?
Yeah, good question. You can see a lot in the fundamental part of it. Those guys grind, man. They work. You watch that group in practice. You guys will see at some point when you get out here. Those guys work and they work hard. The fundamental part is all really we're focused on. So, yeah, I see changes in stances. I see changes in technique and fundamental parts of how they're hitting sleds, where their hand placement is. I see that improving every day, and that's exciting for me to watch that. You feel that improvement. Again, we're in shorts. There's no helmets on, and we're not competing for yards here. You know, there's no down and distance. There's no scoreboard, so you don't really get a chance to know that part of it. But as far as the fundamentals and what I've seen in improvement, really from when we started to now, has been pretty impressive. I'm really happy with where those guys are at and how they're working and the improvements they've made fundamentally.
What are you hoping to accomplish?
I see young players that had a lot of room for improvement from last year, but I see guys that have traits and talent to be able to make a jump and make a transition and play good football. We're going to find our best five, however that looks, come September. But those two guys for sure have the ability and have the physical talent and traits to be able to be starting right tackles or tackles in this league. It was good to see them play some, because when you get to see guys play, you get to know where their weaknesses are and how to correct them. And I think that part has been fun to see those guys get better every day fundamentally. Again, we'll put the pads on come July, and then we'll let it rip and let those guys compete. But I think their competition, what they've done so far in their young careers, and then the ability to get better from now until we play, gives me some excitement that they got a chance to be good young ascending players for us.
Brian, is there an insurance policy or an insurance option if you put the pads on and they're not in training camp where you want them to be?
There's always options. Sometimes your options that are outside of your building are better than others. But there's also a whole nother set of acquisition period that comes at the end of training camp. There's trades that occur, there's cuts that occur. There's still potential to add at the position if you feel like you need to. Again, maybe not be the options that you would want. There may not be one that's available that's worth it. But there's always avenues to improve still before the season starts if you feel like you need a spot somewhere on the roster.
Brian, when it comes to adding someone, and what type of player, if you do add, are you looking for?
Yeah, there's definitely room to add, and those conversations are ongoing. You know, there's still players out there where the free agency isn't over, and there's still conversations with agents, conversations with players. That stuff continues. So we're looking to add an edge down there. We need guys that can play with some physicality, that they look and sound like Denard, as you guys listen to Denard. That's what we're looking for. We need, there's an area for a veteran presence there. We're still exploring those options, and that'll hopefully get resolved sometime sooner than later.
Obviously,
And get better every year and really play at a high level. Those are impactful. They mean something. They matter. I use a lot of the things that I've learned there here now, but Will's not Joe, and that's okay. We can still be a really good football team, and Will can be a really good quarterback. He doesn't have to be Joe Burrow. He just needs to be Will Levis. But there's a lot of things that I take from our experiences there that kind of make me who I am, and my core philosophy of offensive football is a huge part of that. So there's a lot to take from those experiences, absolutely.
With the quarterback gauging, hey, look, the journey's over. You got to understand that. How do you go about gauging that, and when does that process start?
You never want to coach away somebody's edge. He's got that, and he plays a very competitive, tough, and physical brand of football at the quarterback position, which I appreciate. And there's a lot of ways quarterbacks can show their toughness. The one that I prefer not to see a lot of is lowering shoulders and jumping over defenders and all that. There's a place, we got to win a game, and he's shown that he's willing to put his body on the line to win a game, which is appreciated. Guys respect that in the locker room. But he also has to know that he shoulders a lot of the franchise and his ability to stay healthy and play for 16, 17, 22 games is an important part of it. So there's a balance. Again, I don't want to coach his edge out, but there's a balance of knowing what your health means to the team and the organization, and when and where to show that toughness. And so that's a maturity thing. Guys learn how to do that. You take one or two good hits, you learn real quick that you probably don't want to take a lot of them. So I think he's well aware of that, and those are things that we work on and talk about over the course of the offseason.
You said you're
Last one.
looking to